What's the opposite?
Oh, you got to
of a
pull
hammer-on?
off.
Absolutely.
So it kind of looks like the same, but it's not exactly. So with a hammer, you're going to pick the first note, and then you're going to strike the second note with, like in this case, our pinky. Pull off, in theory, it's the reverse. You keep both fingers down, pick, and then lift the finger off. But it's kind of weak sounding.
Right.
So we actually use the pinky sort of like a little pick. And we get a flick. So imagine that your pinky is a little fleshy pick. I know it's a gross statement, but
it fuels the sound.
Absolutely. It just really drives it. Pick, and then with your pinky, kind of like flick and pick, and you get a pull off.
So I think a great exercise for you guys to do at home is going, if you're going to ascend on the pentatonic scale, use all hammer-ons. And then descending, all pull-offs. Just like that.
That's sweet. So when you're doing like those big bends, I reinforce.
So do I.
So like my ring finger will come down on the string wherever it is. I have strings 1 and 2 behind it because I'm doing a big whole step bend.
Right.
3 piggies is stronger than 1 piggy, and I said that. It works really well. Right. You know, obviously you can bend with any finger you want, but most of the time I go to is my third finger reinforcement on 1 and 2.
Yes. Yeah. So I'll put my third finger on the 8th fret.
Yeah. And
I usually put my middle finger on the fret before it.
Right.
And even the first finger sometimes on the 6th fret.
Sure.
It's better for strength and stability.
Yeah, it's not really about what frets they're on. Whatever goes on behind the
you
destination
don't hear it
fret,
anyway.
yeah, you don't hear it. So just put your fingers down and squeeze with 3 instead of 1.
You have a much better chance.
How about your thumb placement?
My thumb usually I put on top.
A lot of rock and blues players do.
This way, I'm kind of pressing down on the neck as I'm bending.
So it's almost like you're squeezing juice from a lemon.
Yes.
You know, instead of just like pushing up with your fingers, kind of pushing down at the same time the other direction with your thumb. And really squeeze it.
It's all in the right hand. Okay, and basically what you have to do, just like when you learned how to hold a bat.
Yeah, I use the same analogy, like playing baseball or softball.
Yes, and you have to choke up on the bat, exactly the same concept. So if this is the way you usually hold a pick, just like that, you want to scoot this back just a little bit like that, so it's basically even with your thumb, just like that. Because what's going to happen,
just a little bit.
Yes, when we attack the string, we're going to have the pick hit the string first, and then have the skin on your thumb rub against the note a millisecond after you
follow through on your attack.
Yes.
And just like you said, just like as quickly as possible, the side of your thumb, a little piece of flesh is going to touch the string.
And that creates the harmonic.
If you do it in slow motion, I don't know if you're up to the task, but if you do this in super slow motion, you actually hear that it's like 2 sounds.
Oh, sure.
It's the note being picked by the guitar pick, and then it's the string being touched by the side of your thumb. Can you break it down slow? Try it. Slower. I'll show you what I mean. Check this out.
Oh, I thought you
I'm really...
Right.
You know, really kind of moving my arm over and being very dramatic. I'm really overdoing it so you can actually see the motion and hear the 2 different things. But it's 2 sounds, but it's one right after the other.
Yes.
So it comes off as just one awesome, shrill harmonic fest of heavy metal goodness.
I'm always using alternate picking.
Yeah.
Which means, so the first note will be down, second note will be picked up.
Yeah.
Third note down, fourth up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Just like that.
I like to relate it to walking. If you can train yourself to be a good alternate picker, to just, you know, just naturally, just always play guitar with downs, ups, downs, up, downs, ups. There's some musical reasons why you wouldn't, but for the most part, when you're working your way through a scale or through a melody, if you can train yourself to just do this all the time, your playing is really going to be smooth. As you're trying to play faster parts and at faster tempos, it'll be smooth, and it's sort of like walking down the block.
Sure.
You know, if I go walking down the block,
It's a great analogy.
right, left, right, left, and I suddenly take 2 right steps in a row, what's going to happen to me?
He's going to look like a complete moron.
I'm going to fall on my face. It's the same thing with guitar picking. You're playing through the notes of the scale, alternate. You double on it up for some bizarre reason. It's probably going to sound terrible.
Sure.
So just think of it like that. We talk about this. Every guitar player should work on developing sort of like their own little toolbox, their own little tackle box of little licks that they like to play. And then when they're improvising, instead of just like reaching out into the ether for every note they're playing, they're kind of like weaving between familiar licks and then being inspired by the moment, by the other musicians, by the song.
Sure. I usually tell my students, basically, if you have I call them preset licks.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
If you have one, let's say start off the solo with, let's say a typical bluesy one would be, let me turn my volume on. Just like that. Start maybe with that.
Sure. Chuck Berry.
Mix up the notes.
Where it starts.
And go into another preset lick. Can
Sure.
you give me like a 12-bar blues real quick?
Yeah, totally. We've been doing a lot of 12 bars today.
Yep. Preset lick. Go about your business.
Give us another lick, John.
Another preset lick. Move about your business. Anything you want to do. Preset lick. About your business and bring it home, Paul.
I like that second lick. That was very cool. Can you show us that lick? Your second preset lick?
Oh.
Yeah.
So I'm just bending the 3rd string on the 7th fret, right
that's
out of
cool.
the 1st pentatonic. 5th fret on the 2nd string, 8th fret on the 2nd string. That's it. That's it.
I like it.
Do you have any?
You know, for me,
I'm sure you do.
You know, actually, I have like a little pattern, a little box that I like to play with a lot. And off of it, I just kind of improvise forever. I take the minor pentatonic scale, which we've been using, and I like to add a note to the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd strings, giving me 3 notes per string. And it's a uniform pattern, which means, well, I'm kind of playing a symmetrical shape from string to string to string. I'll play the top 3 notes of the A minor scale, and I'm going to use 3 fingers for this, so I'm going to do some blues fingering. So that's the 1st, the 2nd, 3rd notes of the A minor scale.
Do, re, in.
Yeah. So the Dorian scale is like the minor scale, but it has a major note in there. The 6th note comes from the major scale. Lightens it up. It's sort of like a bluesy kind of approach to the minor scale. It's really sweet.
It's great.
And it sounds like that Wing song.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a really fun thing. I like playing with it, and I'm going to continue the pattern on the 3rd string. That's from the blues scale.
Yep.
So there's some tension there. If you're like, oh, I don't like that note, Paul. Well, it's because you have ears and they're working properly. But when you use them together, you can bend off the top note on, or the 2nd fret, I should say. Do a little half-step bends off of that. You can bend off the top note on the first 2 strings. And it's just
great.
like a really fun little palette I like to play with.